Welcome to chapter 4 of Abzû. And this chapter, on the whole, feels a lot more eerie than a lot of what we've seen, and you'll see what I mean by this fairly quickly. But before we get to the eerie part, this is another really memorable set piece to the game. Because this bugger here is huge. Yet, right off the bat, we've established that he is friend. Because he could kill us right away if he wanted. He's huge and, relatively speaking, we are tiny. Yet that doesn't matter to him. We can just swim alongside him like we would swim alongside any of the other fish that we've seen, any of the dolphins we've seen. And it's no issue to him. And I think this particular chapter is sort of representing the depth, because we've had our light blues, we've had our greens, we got a little bit creative with the red, but now we're into deep water, and that section did catch me out because I thought he was going to swallow me on my first playthrough here. But the camera's very cleverly done in a way that makes you question that, but also still have a little bit of confidence that he is your friend, and I think that works well, really, for him. This is the part where I think I might sort of slow down my speaking a little bit, because there's just so much to soak in here. We're beyond our initial exploration, and now we're deep down. But what's with these pyramids? These pyramid devices here are explosives. And that gives a little bit more credence to the idea I had discussed in the last part, that maybe what we're doing here is liberating the fish from mankind's interferences. Like, look at this, that looks incredibly lethal. And it tells us a little bit about our diver. If you notice what just happened, he was sparking, he was electrocuted, but he's fine. So he's either got incredibly well protected swimwear, or he's not entirely traditionally human. And that's the thing, like, it hasn't told us explicitly that he's not human, but we've seen some murals on the wall with all these different implications about things that may be, may not be. And look at this here, and this is a thing that I think this game does well, because to my knowledge at least, the electrocutions don't actually trigger any kind of fail state. At least they didn't for me, like not even on my first playthrough where I was hitting all of them because I didn't know better. I don't believe there is a fail state, yet I still feel tense that I don't want to get hit by them. There's this very well done audio cue that you're getting a bit close, like you hear it sort of buzzing a bit, and it's like, I better stay away from here. And as you get closer to it as well, it starts flashing brighter and brighter. And even though to my knowledge there is no failure state, I'm still shit scared of them. It's little things like that that just remind me that I am playing an experience game. I am experiencing things through the lens of this diver. And I know it seems weird to say, given this is a third person game, but I feel this diver is my kind of connection to the game. I feel he is the one communicating this, or more specifically, like, he is my tool to communicate here. But this is where we get a little bit more of what this game has as plot, because this is our great white. Although this does raise some questions for me about what I was talking about the dive not being entirely human. Maybe this is like some other kind of current? Because I'm pretty sure a great white getting electrocuted underwater would kill it, but there it only sort of stunned him. So, is this even electricity? We don't know when this is set. This could be set after maybe years of evolution to a point where that isn't as lethal to animals as it once was. Or maybe it's, like I was saying, it's not electricity. Maybe it's some other kind of... I don't know what the word is. Maybe it's some other kind of element that isn't known to us in the present day. I really don't know. And again, it's that ambiguity that paints our own interpretations of the world around us. I like to think that it maybe is a different kind of element. Maybe it was left over from whoever was painting the murals in the little transition rooms. Yeah, this is another part where we're going into the Dead Sea area. And I like that we can sort of see the outline of what will be the door through to the next chapter here, but it's so faint in the background and the water's so foggy there. I think it's at this point the game knows that you'll have worked out the formula, and so it just wants to encourage you to move along, still sort of at your own pace. See, this is the thing, I wasn't quite sure about whether this is underwater or not, whether it is or isn't, because it does actually look like we're floating above the water and that below us is the sea. We are still swimming along the air, so it could be yet another new element. It could be something else entirely. It could be that if we're this advanced species, or we're this advanced being or entity, that we can travel in ways that traditional humans can't. Them things do admittedly scare me a little bit. This is one of my things with underwater areas. And this is the sort of thing that I could make jokes about, but in all sincerity, that if I'm swimming past something with tentacles, that is quite an uncomfortable experience. And I deliberately swam close to this thing here just to, like, emphasise that for myself. This is something that I talked about a little bit back in Beyond Two Souls, but I like when games can make me feel that little bit uncomfortable, because that just... I guess in a way it sort of broadens my own horizons, and in the process it just draws me into the experience more, because I have this kind of personal connection to it, and not just a traditional sit back and watch it happen experience. This section's quite a foreboding end to the level, given we've established these things can harm us, and for the sake of this chapter they are like our last obstacle before we get to the end. And I do like the detail in the little bits of junk from those that have already exploded just floating around, that we're swimming around, that we're sort of having to push out the way. But ladies and gentlemen, that was chapter 4. I'll see you next time for more Abzû.